Hey everyone! Quick update from the Missouri Mayhem Pod. Unfortunately, the sisters ran into some recording issues with the Earth Day Cave episode, and it's not quite ready yet. They are really sorry for the delay and know some of you were looking forward to this one, and the girls appreciate your patience while they get everything sorted out. The good news: your regularly scheduled Monday Missouri Mayhem episode all about worlds and oceans of fun is still locked, loaded, and ready to go. Mindy and Megan are working hard to get the cave episode out as soon as possible, and we'll keep you posted. Thanks for sticking with Missouri Mayhem.
There's a moment right before a roller coaster drops. The train climbs higher and higher. Click, click, click. The park gets smaller beneath you. You can see the skyline of Kansas City stretching out across the horizon, the wind whipping past your face as the track disappears over the edge. The riders behind you start screaming, and just for a second, everything stops and gravity takes over. For more than 50 years, those screams have echoed across one place: Worlds of Fun in Kansas City, Missouri, and then eventually in Oceans of Fun. A park filled with legendary rides, summer traditions, and memories for generations of Kansas Cityans. Because if you grew up around here, chances are you've got at least one Worlds of Fun story. Either your first roller coaster ride, or for me, it would be one of my first
Yes,
summer
it
jobs.
was. How long did that summer job last?
2 weeks.
Yeah, okay, that's what I
Yeah.
thought. Just checking.
Yeah, Tiffany and I thought we would be lifeguards at Oceans of Fun in
Yeah,
the
'cause
summer
it's
of
cool.
94. We'd walk around, get our tan on, and yeah, no.
Start with the boys
Yeah.
from Oak Park High School.
Yeah, and then rescuing 3 kids within a couple days out of the pool. I'm like, I don't think this
You
job,
realize this is work.
this is a little bit more serious than I
I
thought.
might have to save a life.
So I ended up coming to work for you in the
That's
kitchen at Excelsior
Excelsior
Spring.
Spring. Can you believe I was your boss?
Yeah, that's right.
That's hilarious.
Oh, so yeah, I mean, Worlds of Fun and Oceans of Fun, so much laughter, music, the smell of food, funnel cakes. But there are a few stories from the park that some guests or many guests have never heard. And today we're going to ride into those stories. The rides that have defined generations, the attractions that have disappeared, and even some urban legends. And for those of you out there, if you haven't heard, we're even going to talk about the recent and massive business deal in 2026, just
Oh.
recently, that could change kind of how we know Worlds of Fun forever.
Wow, this
So,
is good information.
yeah, we'll talk about that. So, you guys, welcome to Missouri Mayhem, Mystery, and Murder. I'm Megan.
And I'm Mindy. Happy Monday or whatever day you are listening to us on. We appreciate all of you. Let's go ride some roller coasters.
All right. We're just going to get right into this episode today because it doesn't center, of course, around one specific date or year.
Right.
We're going to be talking about a lot of different things. So we're just going to get into it because I, having loved Worlds of Fun, have known and gone to Worlds of Fun since I can remember, did not know a lot of this information. Even why, do you know why that balloon is kind of the
Have no idea.
not mascot, but you know what I mean? The emblem.
The emblem, yes.
I had no clue until I did research for this why that is, and we're going to find out.
So my whole life, I've just thought it was a balloon because maybe they would give balloon rides,
Yeah,
but they never did.
right. Didn't they have? I think the only thing they ever had that actually resembled a balloon ride was like a kiddie ride that looked
Yeah.
like little balloons that kind of bounced.
This
you
will be
know.
interesting. Okay.
So yeah, well, there is a reason for that. So we will talk about.
All
that.
right.
All right, you guys. So where in the world did Worlds of Fun come from? Like, who had this idea? How did this all develop? So long before the ground that Worlds of Fun sits on held roller coasters and the sounds of teenagers and kids and lines for rides, there was nothing. Just like a lot of ground in Kansas City, it was just rolling farmland
Okay.
and open fields and considered kind of north of Kansas City, Missouri. And for those of you that don't know, Worlds of Fun lies right off of 435 in Kansas City. And so, yeah. So in the late 1960s, if you drove along the rural roads near the Missouri River in Clay County, again, no amusement park. We're talking about cattle pastures, farmhouses. I mean, really not not developed at all like it is today. But one man saw that Kansas City, that North Kansas City empty land, and thought, you know what, this land could be something different.
Okay.
And I don't know if you knew this or not, but that man is no other than Lamar Hunt.
Right.
And a lot of you may know the name Lamar Hunt because of the Chiefs. He is the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, or owned the Kansas City Chiefs, and he was the founder of the American Football League.
No kidding.
Yeah, he did all that. He basically helped merge the NFL, again, owned the Chiefs, and he even coined the term Super Bowl. Supposedly,
No, he did not.
yeah, I don't remember if it was his son or his daughter, but Lamar's son or daughter had it was a toy called the Super Ball. And he thought that was a cool name.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm not sure, but it ended up being Super Bowl.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but Lamar Hunt at this time wasn't just thinking about sports. He was in general fascinated with the entertainment business and tourism, especially in Kansas City. Since he had the Chiefs, he wanted Kansas City to become a regional destination, and not just for football, but for families looking for entertainment in general. So, yeah, Lamar Hunt has brought a lot.
He
to the
thought
city.
well because all that worked out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so far seems like pretty good business dealings. Now, at the time in the United States in the late 60s, large theme parks were just starting to sprout up and really change the landscape in America. We were slowly going from carnivals and circuses to amusement parks and theme parks. And places like Disneyland in California, and of course, Walt Disney, proved that amusement parks can be pretty cool, immersive places, and not just a ride here or there, but like give guests a real kind of theme around a park. So Lamar Hunt wanted to do something like that, like Walt Disney had done with Disneyland for the Midwest. So in the late 1960s, he and his company began quietly purchasing hundreds of acres of land. Just
quietly purchasing hundreds of acres.
Yes, just northeast of Kansas City. Don't want anybody to kind of know what's going on.
Right.
Eventually, they end up assembling about 235 acres for what eventually becomes Worlds of Fun and Oceans of Fun.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was forward
How
thinking.
many acres of that do you think is parking lot?
Quite a bit.
A lot.
I mean, a good portion, I would say, quite a bit. 235 acres is a lot. Now, so that was in the late 60s. So construction didn't officially start until 1971. And this was not a small project. Can you imagine starting Worlds of Fun from the ground up?
No.
And of course, it's not.
It would not be OSHA approved. I can tell you that.
No, we're going to talk a little bit about some of that stuff too. But basically, it's not the Worlds of Fun exactly that we think of today, but very close. And the Kansas City-based construction company J.E. Dunn, who's still around, they were the ones that were brought in to basically create this entertainment destination. So workers move all this earth, they carve out pathways, they build infrastructure, and before you know it, we have a theme park that's considered one of the biggest theme parks in the Midwest. I
was going to say, I don't know of any bigger.
Yeah. So,
this area.
Yeah. Unless we're talking about like Six Flags, which is comparable, but but in this area, yes. Now, Lamar Hunt's like, I don't want this to just feel random. I want this park to have a theme. Like, I don't want it to be just, here's one ride and here's another, and there's no cohesion.
Are we getting close to the story about the balloon?
We're almost there.
Oh, good.
Okay, so he wanted to tell a story. He decided that he wanted to take inspiration from the classic novel, the 1872 adventure novel, Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. Now, for those of you who don't know, that story includes a person that basically gets in a hot air balloon and tries to go around the world in 80 days in a hot air balloon.
Does he do it?
Well, I've never completely read that book, but I've seen the movie, and I think he does some cool things.
Yeah.
He's on an adventure.
Okay.
And so the idea was simple. Visitors would travel around the world at Worlds of Fun in a single day. Each area of the park would represent a different region of the globe.
Very good.
So, guests enter the park and they could wander through Scandinavia, which was inspired by Nordic villages and seafaring culture. And then you could go through Africa,
Yeah.
filled with jungle themes and adventure rides. And then we're in Europa, which has like the charm and architecture of old Europe, the Orient, designed to evoke Eastern Asian landscape and aesthetics, and then Americana, so American frontier and culture. And as guests walked through, they were essentially following this fictional journey of the main character from that book of Jules Verne. His name's Phileas Fogg.
Never knew that.
Yes, and
Never knew when I was
why
going to all of those that I was going
around the
the
world. Like, you think of like the Zambi Zinger, that's Africa, the Finnish
Yes.
Fling, Scandinavia,
Yes.
and so
The Orient Express. The Orient.
yes, there you go. So this was not, again, not just an amusement park, but he wanted this to be storytelling through architecture, rides, and atmosphere. So when Worlds of Fun finally opened its gates on May 26, 1973, Kansas City showed up.
So who named it Worlds of Fun?
Lamar.
Lamar Hunt.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm guessing him and his team,
Yes.
once they said, we're going to go with this around the world in 80
Yeah.
days thing.
Okay.
And then our logo is going to be that.
Worlds of Fun. That's perfect. Yeah.
Yes, our logo is going to be that hot air balloon. So that first season alone, more than 1 million visitors.
Oh,
so Lamar was probably like, "Ooh, I think I've caught on.
I got something
Yeah.
there. Boy, did he.
And the rides quickly, of course, become stuff of legends, and we're going to talk all about that. Okay, so the legendary rides that have defined Worlds of Fun. Let's talk about some of those.
Okay.
Okay, so that's how Worlds of Fun was created. So when invented, what do you say?
Worlds of Fun was created.
And when Worlds of Fun opened in 1973, the park didn't just have rides. They had what were considered like icons, things that people really had never seen before in this area of the United States. They're like, oh my gosh, look at these massive structures. And I mean, these are rides that some kids considered like rite of passage.
Yes.
Or, I know the Orient Express was a rite of passage. Once you were tall enough and big enough.
And you remember the chicken exit?
Oh.
I remember staring at that sign going, man, I could do it right now. I could chicken out here.
I'm sure I used the chicken exit more than once. And again, if you grew up here, you probably are going to remember a lot of these rides because your first visit to Worlds of Fun usually meant one thing: standing in line for a roller coaster and staring up at a track that suddenly felt a lot bigger than you thought it was going to be, and the screams get a lot scarier than you thought they were going to be. Okay, so let's start with the Zambis. What we like to call the Feel Up coaster. The ride that everybody talks about. So, okay, yeah. So when you think of the Zambi Zinger, we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
What do you think of?
Well,
what I just said.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So those of you who don't know, and I have not ridden the new Zambi Zinger. Have you?
No, I have not.
So I'm not sure how the seats are set up on that one.
I'm still scarred from the last one.
Yes. But the other one, basically, it was a 2-person car.
Like if you're a girl, you basically sat between some guy's legs
in front of you.
Or it could be a guy and a guy's legs. However it worked out. But it was very convenient if you were a guy trying to hit on a girl for her to sit, in between your legs.
Right in front of you.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. And you're in this woods and these trees and this dark tunnel. Yeah. So we have the Zambi Zinger, legendary coaster. It debuted in 1973. It wasn't like these giant steel roller coasters that people see today. It was considered something different. It was a steel coaster that was made to feel like a wooden coaster.
Oh, my goodness.
So the ride would, of course, like we said, it goes in through the thick wooded areas of the park of Africa, and it would really hug the terrain. Sometimes I was worried I was going to get hit in the face with branches. And remember, it had this,
Yes.
soar up the yes,
and it seems so unsafe
because I don't even know if we had a seat.
I don't think you did have a seat.
I don't.
I remember just being like, man, I'm free.
Like wrong. Look out and bend over. I could.
Yeah.
Yes. So speed, sharp turns. It really did kind of. If you ever rode it at night, it was super cool because it did kind of feel like you were in the jungle. And again, you had this tunnel that.
Yeah.
Now. I don't know about you, but I heard there was a local legend that went around about the Zambi Zinger when I was a kid.
What?
That somebody had stood up.
No.
Going into the tunnel.
That's not the Zambi Zinger. That is the Fire in the Hole at Silver Dollar City.
Silver Dollar City. Okay, because again, the old Zambi Zinger was just this concrete
Yeah.
tunnel that you
Yeah.
would come to all of a sudden and go through for a few seconds. It was dark. Someone had, of course, said that someone had stood up going into it and been decapitated.
Well, that did happen.
But that was it. And you're going to talk.
And there's that happened at Branson, but not exactly like that.
Okay.
He wasn't like he just stood up and got decapitated. We'll talk about it in the Branson episode. We promise.
Okay. So that, but I was always, when we came to that tunnel, I was real tight in my seat. But you know what, you guys, for those of you that remember, so it opened in 73, but the original ride of the Zambi Zinger closed down in 1997.
Yeah.
And Kansas City fans literally never quit talking about it. Like, are they ever going to bring that back? Would they bring that back? And of course, in 2023, the park finally brought back the Zambi Zinger. And I guess supposedly it's a brand new actual wooden coaster.
See, I don't like the wooden ones because they really knock me around.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the wooden coasters and the neck and back pain some people
can literally
experience.
Feel my brain in my head, like moving back and forth.
Oh, yeah, same. So Zambi Zinger, definitely an icon. Now, others of you, you may be like, no, the icon of Worlds of Fun and its originality was the Orient Express.
Right.
And for me, the Orient Express was like the ultimate thing I had to.
If you were going to go there that day, you were going to get on that thing.
Yes. And like I had to conquer it. It was one of those things I grew up seeing, and like eventually I'm going to have to get on this thing.
Okay. Do you remember it being so exciting when you would go to Worlds of Fun? There'd be like nobody there, and you could ride a ride and run back around, get back in line, and keep riding it multiple times.
We'd like jump over the bars.
Yes,
and like
so like there's nobody here. I would love that.
Okay, do you remember this? And this is off topic a little bit. Do you remember the dolphin exhibit that was out in front of the Orient Express?
Yes.
I loved the dolphin exhibit.
It was right by it.
I hope they treated them okay. That probably was not a good place for
Don't
them to
tell me
live.
that.
I'm just thinking now, like
if you were a dolphin,
that in the middle of Kansas City, that little pool. But maybe
no,
they had
maybe it was salt water,
and they had a bigger pool somewhere else. They took.
Yeah, that's it. That's totally it.
Yeah, I'd be anxious to know how many of our listeners out there remember the dolphins, because I
right next to the Orient Express.
Right in front of it. Okay, so Orient Express, 1980. So it came a little later after the park had been open. The Orient Express, and this ride for its time in 1980 was cutting edge. It was one of the first roller coasters in the world to feature multiple inversions, meaning riders would go upside down many times.
Mm-hmm.
There were roller coasters, you'd go upside down one time, and then, and
it did. It just kept going and going.
And it had, of course, that towering lift hill, and it dominated the skyline. You could see it, hear it from I-435. And it gave me scary and excitement all at once every time I'd hear it. But what really made the Orient Express famous were the loops. It featured what was called one of the first boomerang inversions in the world. And at the time, the twist was known as the kamikaze curve. It was one giant vertical loop and two massive interlocking corkscrews that twisted riders upside it, like you said, over and over again.
See, I would just hold on. So I would get belted in, and then I'd take my hands and hold myself in over, just in case they didn't latch them.
Oh my gosh, same.
You know what I mean?
I like shook them like 80 times before we took off.
Yeah. And then I was like ready to fall out. And every single, they take pictures of you.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Those are always hilarious. And every single one, I am screaming my head off.
Your eyes closed, mouth wide open.
Yes.
Same. No, the pictures were the best.
Yeah.
See, they wouldn't do that today now, because kids would just take pictures of the screen, and
there's
no need to buy them now.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I haven't been there in a while.
That's true.
But definitely the Orient Express was a badge of honor for kids growing up in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And like you already talked about the chicken exit. That's the one I'm sure I took the chicken exit on.
I know I did.
Yeah. Now, after almost 25 years of operation, the Orient Express closed down in 2003. And its removal left a huge hole in the park skyline there. And I still kind of feel that way when I look. It's altered a little bit. Now, another ride that, of course, is famous at Worlds of Fun was and is the Timberwolf.
Yeah.
The wooden beast back and neck throw out ride. So
if you feel good when you get on this ride, you won't when you get off.
If you have a headache, okay, you'll get one if you don't already. This wooden coaster opened in 1989. I remember when it opened, because I would have been 13, and that was a prime time I was going to Worlds of Fun. And I remember we were all so excited. And The Timberwolf towered over the Americana section and featured massive drops, high speed turns, and this unmistakable wooden coaster rumble. And it was rough. Riders would come off laughing, holding their heads, their necks, their back. And the kind of ride people would say, yeah, it's fun, but brace yourself. But you better really want to ride it. And over the years, it has been modified and smoothed out.
Oh, no, it has not.
Numerous times
That
they've
is so
tried.
rough.
They have tried, but that beast, whoo, yeah, that one's rough. So the Timberwolf. Okay, let's see. We also had the Viking Voyager.
Loved that.
Yes, love the Viking Voyager. That was fun. Of course, that was
I loved getting the big splash at the end.
Oh, I know. It was the best.
I mean, I just liked getting in it and going around the first circle and just
yes. And just, it's just so relaxing. And then it got a little exciting.
and then the water's so algae-ish and
blue. So fake blue. So we had that. Let's see what else. Of course, there was also, let's skip over to one that I didn't put on here that I need to is the Fury of the Nile.
Yes.
So that was one that we either rode first or last.
Oh, yes.
First or last is how we either did that because we were going to be wet and dry all day.
Yep.
Or I hated walking in wet
clothes
and tennis shoes, especially.
But the thing about there, you really would dry pretty quick.
You would. And on the Fury of the Nile was funny because you might have half your party get drenched and the other half
not.
No. And they'd hit those. The worst was when your back would be to one of those wave things and you could see the people across from you, their eyes getting great big, and you knew like water was
ready to hit you.
Oh, and they had they'd set off.
And I liked that ride because I would get all sweaty, at the park. And I'd be like, it's time to cool down.
Let's go
Fury of the Nile.
And they always had good snack shacks on the way to the Fury of the
They did, like on the way out.
Yes, so good. Okay, so that's some of the stuff from the OG Worlds of Fun. And we're going to talk about, I know you're thinking, wait, you haven't mentioned a couple of my favorites are here, there. Hold on, we're going to get to some of those too.
Okay.
So let's skip forward to Oceans of Fun. So how did we get Oceans of Fun? And again, this was something I wasn't real sure on either. Now, by the late 1970s, Worlds of Fun had been around for not quite 10 years, but was a huge success already. Thousands of families packed in every summer, and it was starting to quickly become like this Midwest summer tradition. And the people there, though, found out very quickly running a theme park with metal roller coasters. And we all know that black asphalt smell of Worlds of Fun.
Yes.
It's hotter than Hades in Missouri in the summer and brutally hot.
Yes.
And when the temperatures started climbing in the 90s in July and August, and families weren't really wanting to get out and sit on the hot roller coaster seats, they were looking for water.
Right.
And so Lamar Hunt, again, was like, okay, I see where you're coming from. You need something to cool off after you've been at Worlds of Fun. So, all right, we got all this land that we purchased all that time ago. Let's put Oceans of Fun right here next to it.
Perfect.
Yeah, so planning for the water park began in the late 1970s under Lamar Hunt and the Hunt Family's Entertainment Company. And again, the idea was simple: build one of the largest water parks in the world right next to Worlds of Fun. That was their goal. Construction started in the early 80s on land, again, just east of Worlds of Fun. And engineers and designers wanted the park to feel completely different from the themed lands at Worlds of Fun. Instead of traveling the globe, they just wanted visitors to feel like they were walking into tropical paradise. You know, palm trees, island architecture, the fake blue lagoon water.
We're actually in Missouri, but
we're going to pretend like we're in the Caribbean.
Ocean.
And of course, the winding waterways. And when the park was finished, it covered almost 60 acres. And at that time, it made it one of the largest water parks in the United States.
Okay.
Not just like in the Midwest. And of course, we've got Worlds of Fun. This is going to be Oceans of Fun. So there we go. Easy peasy.
I remember when that first came out. It was so exciting to go there.
So exciting.
It was like, wow, there's a literal wave pool.
And that thing, it was like.
And I'm like, I'm going to die in it.
And I thought, this is what an ocean must really feel like.
Yeah.
And
I
it
mean,
kind of does.
I felt like at different points I was getting smacked down and couldn't get back up. Like I feel like those lifeguards have a hard job.
When Tiffany and I trained to be lifeguards, we had to decide, do you want to be deep water lifeguards or shallow water. Like shallow was basically like
The
8
kids.
foot or like 8 foot or less. And then like the wave pool, you had to
Yeah.
have massive. And we
Yeah.
were both like, yeah, no thanks to the wave pool. That's scary. Those kids
That
get down
is.
there, little kids get down there.
Yes.
And you can't see them. They get bunched around those
And the
fans.
parents aren't watching
No.
sometimes. They're doing their own thing.
Like I said, I was in shallow water and I had to jump in and bring 3 kids.
3.
3 in a week.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, no. Too stressful for me. So
You saved some lives.
Well,
Good job. Good job.
But hey, we appreciate lifeguards out there for sure.
Yes.
So on May 31st, 1982, the gates of Oceans of Fun opened for the very first time. And of course, thousands of Kansas Cityans showed up and they thought it was amazing. It debuted more than a dozen water attractions, a massive wave pool, like we just said, lots of twisting water slides. Remember, it had that lagoon at one time that was supposed to look like a swamp. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh, they had I swear it was a lagoon there for a while, but that didn't go over well.
Yeah.
I think, I'm pretty sure that's what I'm thinking.
You're not talking about the lazy river.
No, not the lazy river. It was, I could have swore it was like a lagoon thing, but the moment guests stepped inside, they were greeted by something that stood out. Sand, lots of it. I don't know if you remember that. They had that area.
They did?
Yes, and that they realized was not something they could keep up with.
That was not a good
No,
idea.
and that it was tracked all over the park, and and it would clog up systems.
To this day, isn't it still all over the park?
Yeah, well, I don't know how much sand they actually have at any of because I'm thinking besides the beach where they do, you can do like the paddle, the canoe board things. I don't know how much actual sand there is there. Of course, like we said, the giant wave pool was the centerpiece. I mean, let's go surfing now. Everybody's learning how. Come on and safari with me.
Then you know it was time to head to the wave pool.
And then the song that makes me think of Oceans of Fun that they played over that loudspeaker. And I was like, oh my gosh. Makes me think of dust in the wind, all we are is dust in the wind. That song came.
They played that
all the time on repeat. I do not know.
Dust in the wind.
Dust in the wind by isn't it Kansas or Toto or whoever? I don't know.
All we are
is dust in the wind.
All we are is dust in the.
Oh, if anyone else remembers Dust in the Wind, let me know.
Could that be any of them worse?
Yeah, I know, but I swear, every time I hear it,
dust in the wind.
That's what I think of. Now, okay, the wave pool at the time, it was considered one of the largest wave pools in the world.
Yeah, I would hope.
Yeah, it held over 2 million gallons of water. You heard me right. 2 million gallons of water and featured a giant artificial beach lined.
I wonder how
with
many
sand.
times that thing's been peed in.
Oh,
about 200 gallons.
I wonder how many billions of gallons they've had to, now that it's been open.
Yeah.
60 years or however long. Again, every few minutes, giant mechanical pumps would fire up and send the rolling waves crashing. And they're like these massive fans that would just start blowing the water.
Is that what they are?
I don't know, but it had something weird. But I know people got excited when the waves started coming on.
Oh, heck yeah. And do you remember? Sorry.
No, you're good.
But like trying to get to the bar all the way at the end and holding on to it. Did you ever make it to that point?
Yes, only because I had a float with me, not without a tube.
Yeah.
No, I was not brave enough to go.
To me, that was my ultimate goal, to get down there, touch that thing, and not die.
Go. Yes. It's so dangerous. So dangerous. It's like giving me anxiety thinking about it right
Me
now.
and Caden did that together.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
We did. Sorry to tell you, but we did that.
I don't like water. Well, good for you. That's yay.
Hey, we had fun.
I'm not mad because obviously it all turned out fine. But yes, so the giant wave pool. Of course, so we have the slides. On the opening day, there were several slides, and the most popular ones, it was called Hurricane Falls. And Hurricane Falls, this slide towered above the park, sending riders racing through steep turns and splashing into a large pool. And it actually, I think some of those are still there. Remember, it had like the Bahama, was it not the Bahama Mama? But the slides had different names, like Bahama this and Honolulu, the Honolulu something. Yes, they had all those names. But to me, those weren't too scary. They were just fun, the water slides. And then what you were talking about, the lazy river.
Yes.
I love the lazy
river. That might be my favorite.
Me too. Especially the older I get.
I know. And you know what really makes me mad? is when the kids get in the lazy river and they start splashing me because I'm like, you've got the whole park to go
do that.
splash and do that. I'm in the lazy river, man.
It's called lazy.
Yeah, it's not called splashy river.
This is not. So, for visitors who weren't looking, again, like us, for adrenaline, they wanted the park's lazy river. And guests could grab the inner tube and float around. And for a few minutes, you could dream you were in the Caribbean. I'm going to close my eyes. When I look up and see that palm tree,
I'm not.
and I see the smog from Kansas City, I'm going to. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Smog.
I'm just kidding. Kansas City's not smoggy. But, for a minute, you could feel like, okay, I'm not, this is my staycation.
Yeah,
Here in Kansas
waterfalls trickling down rocks.
There you go. They did their best. And the opening of Oceans of Fun dramatically changed the entire entertainment complex because now people could spend 2 full days at the property. They could spend one day at Worlds of Fun and the next day at Oceans of Fun. And then they got smart where they're like, hey, you can buy a pass where you could go back and forth between the parks. And that's what we did. When the boys were little, we bought passes. Spencer liked Worlds of Fun better than Oceans. Caden liked Oceans of Fun. And so it worked out. So for many families, Kansas City could become the ultimate summer trip. School field trips, youth outings, church outings. I'm sure I went on some church outings to Worlds of Fun.
And now they have all those setups where you can bring your camper.
Oh, yeah.
And park. Literally,
Yes.
people come here from
Yes.
miles and miles away in campers to spend the whole week.
Yeah, and go
at
to there.
Oceans and Worlds of Fun.
And it's in a good location because it's really close to Kansas City where you can go down to like Legoland and see the aquarium and do all that stuff too. So it's a really nice place. Yeah, they've put, gosh, I don't know how many RV spots do you think they have there?
20?
Yeah, maybe 20 to 30 maybe. But yeah, right there just to the south, I think, of the park. So Oceans of Fun definitely gave us an extra kind of oomph when it came to entertainment. In the Midwest area, we were kind of hoping to be competitive with the Six Flags of like the St. Louis's. Now, let's talk a little bit about some of the rides we've lost over the years.
Can I talk about something real quick?
Sure.
Whatever happened to Exit 54?
Okay, we're going to talk about
We are going to talk about Exit.
We're going to talk.
I feel like that's very important.
It is important.
Okay.
But when you Google Exit 54 Worlds of Fun, I can't find anything
about it.
So
because it was named after Exit 54 and also Studio 54, right?
Well, I think mainly Exit 50 because it's the exit number is 54 that you get off the highway.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a cool coincidence.
It's a rumor I heard.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It could be. Yes, we're going to talk about that. So rides we lost. Okay, the Finnish fling. Do you remember that?
The what?
The Finnish fling, the tube where you suck to the side. The centrifugal force or whatever.
I never did that.
You
never, because I remember hearing people talk about people who were vomiting on that thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like a vomiting spring everywhere.
Yeah. Now, I never was on it when anyone vomited, but it smelled like vomit in there. And I don't know, for those of you out there, you remember this, but the walls of it were made of like this, almost like feed sack material. How do I put it? Like a rough.
I never got in that thing.
Yeah, and it smelled, but boy, was it magical because it's like, wow, that is so.
Because it throws you against the wall.
Yeah, and then literally the floor would go, the floor goes down.
Yeah.
And you're stuck to the wall and you're like,
who thought of
weird.
that ride?
The last time I rode it, the boys were tiny and we ended up having to like leave not long after I was so ill.
Because you did that with them?
Yes. Like it was like
did the boys do it too?
Oh, yeah. But no, I mean, once you get to a certain age, your body does not want to go around like that and stick to a wall. So the Finnish
probably at no age
was around from 1973 to 2017.
Gosh, a lot of puking there.
Yeah, it was around a long time. Again, only thing holding people up in it was centrifugal force.
Centrifugal.
And so, that one was definitely an OG. Also, the Wacky Worm, it was one of the first kid roller coasters. Yeah, it was open from 1973 also to 2003. So it was around the same time as the Orient. And again, this was a little roller coaster. And I'm pretty sure that was probably the very first roller coaster I ever rode.
Oh, and It was right at the beginning of the park.
Yes, it was right, I
The
think.
little kids stuff was all at the beginning of the park.
Yes. Parents could ride behind their kids, and it was like a little bright green caterpillar, and the train, it would
Mhm.
go, just a little hill. And but again, super cool for that
Yeah.
time. Of course, the kid area has gone through a lot of transitions. It was Camp
Yeah.
Snoopy for a long time, and I honestly, again, I haven't been there in a while. I'm not sure if it's still Camp Snoopy or something else.
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, okay, another thing I need to talk about. I hope you remember this because Terry
I
forgot it.
do.
Well, hold on. Terry forgot about this. Do you
Okay,
remember
what?
the Incredidome?
Yes.
The dome you'd go in, and
Everybody, we pack a billion people
people
in
in there,
there.
and you sat in front of that screen, and it was like it was filmed in France, and a guy was riding a motorcycle, and he was going zipping through streets, and you
Yes.
felt like you were riding.
Yes, you did.
Okay, thank you. I'm not delusional.
Remember waiting for hours to get into that as
Because
well.
it was one of the only air conditioned, that place and
Yes.
Stacks of Wax
You're right, it
were the
was.
only
Well,
Stacks of
Saxon
Wax.
had to be air conditioned.
Woo, the dance, the 50s.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that place. So anyways, I thought of that. I was like, the Incredidome. So anyways, also, if you don't remember, there was a sky ride. There actually was a gondola style
Yes.
attraction.
I love
Yes.
that thing.
Yes. It didn't last forever. Basically in 2010, they were like, you know what? It costs a lot to run this. There's some safety standards that we now can't hold to. But yeah, for almost 4 decades, the chairs moved.
That thing always scared the shit out of me, but yet I had to ride it every
And
time. I'm like, how is this happening? Like, how is
right
this holding us all up
up.
here on this wire thing?
I know. It's kind of like the Zambi Zinger. I'm just waiting for like
Yeah.
something to happen. Okay. Closed attractions at Oceans of Fun. So let me go here. Oceans of Fun. So at Oceans of Fun, several early attractions had to be eventually replaced with newer slides because some early speed slides and tube rides from the 1980s had to be removed.
Oh, why?
Well, again, safety standards changed. They're like, yeah, these really aren't as safe as they should be.
Yeah.
They needed newer slides, which they also felt like would bring bigger thrills, and older structures were requiring a lot of expensive repairs. One example was a ride called the Bonsai Pipeline. It was a tube ride, and I remember you had to carry these big mats up with you
Oh, yeah,
to go down it. Yes.
So it is a haul
It is.
up to some of those. I mean, you got to go up high to go down them though. So
yeah, it's like,
but they're my favorite thing.
me too. I love water slides.
I could water
so
slide
much.
all day. I just wish there was a water slide that was like 10 miles long.
Yeah, they're never long enough.
No, make one big effing water slide that's as huge as a town.
Make it
And you have to ride the whole thing.
And if you want, you could get off here, and you could get off here.
Are you done yet?
No,
Get
I'm
off
good.
here.
Take this exit. Oh my gosh, that'd be fun. Yeah, they're never long enough.
No.
But the Bonsai Pipeline, again, was one of those that great idea, but it didn't last quite as long as they'd hoped just because of safety reasons. Now, again, why do rides really close? 3 main reasons: because they end up becoming so expensive to maintain, new safety standards come out, or they want to bring in new attractions. Now, sometimes saying goodbye to, old rides can be hard, but I think as technology, especially with the entertainment industry, everybody's looking for the newest, coolest thing.
Oh, yeah.
So they've got to keep up. Okay. Now, this is Missouri Mayhem.
Right.
And we are talking about amusement parks. And some shit can go down at amusement parks. Now, luckily, there's not a ton of mayhem here. But for most people, trips to Worlds of Fun, Oceans of Fun, great. Sunburns, funnel cakes, roller coasters, long drive home with kids maybe asleep in the back seat.
A good night's sleep for mom that night.
Yes. But when you operate massive roller coasters, towering water slides, and you bring thousands of people through your doors every day during the months, some things don't always go as planned. And over the decades, there have been a few days at the parks that have turned from to holy shit, what just happened?
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about this, okay? So in no particular order, let's start with the 1995 Timberwolf accident.
Okay.
And I remember this. For many Kansas City locals, this might be an incident you remember. It happened on June 30th, 1995, and this happened on that big wooden roller coaster that we talked about earlier, the Timberwolf. And As we mentioned before, pretty rough ride, lots of jolts.
Mhm.
And the Timberwolf had just opened 6 years earlier in 1989, and again considered one of the most intense rides. The wooden roller coaster, huge drops, fast turns, and that summer afternoon in 1995, something went wrong. A train full of riders climbed the coaster's lift hill, dropped into the first ride's massive descent, and everything seemed fine, just like normal. The train starts racing through the course, navigating the hills and turns. But when the train reaches probably the sharpest curve near the end of the ride, several cars suddenly derailed.
Are you kidding
They had
me?
never seen anything like it. And the cars didn't leave the structure entirely, but they shifted violently, like off the track and like part hanging type of thing. Riders were thrown against restraints and into one another in their cars as the train slammed and stopped.
Okay.
And when it was over, more than 30 people were considered injured.
But no one died?
No.
Okay, good.
Many cuts, bruises, neck injuries.
How did that happen?
Well, again, very scary. Of
Makes
course,
you never wanna get on a roller coaster.
because you never
Sometimes
human error. I
yeah.
mean, it's not humans built it, you know? So investigators later determined that the derailment was probably caused by excessive lateral forces on the track during the curve.
What's that mean?
Well, basically, it said that the ride had to go under significant modifications before reopening, making sure that my guess is tightening up whatever they have to secure it onto the track on those curves. Again, I mean, really, roller coaster science is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But how all that works together. But this did leave a lasting impression. And for many Kansas Cityans, it was the first time. I remember
Yeah.
for me, it was the first time I'm like, wow, like something bad could happen. It is a possibility, and that's kind of scary. Now, there have been a few tragedies at Oceans of Fun.
Now wait a second. I'm sorry to interrupt you
Mhm.
again, but okay, wasn't there a young lady killed on the stand-up wooden
Okay,
roller coaster
I could
as
not.
well?
I could not
And her
find.
name was Ryan.
I could not, because what was that? What was that ride called?
I don't remember.
For some
But you
reason, I
stood
thought it
up.
had the exit name in it too. For
Mhm.
some reason, but I couldn't remember, and I could not find anything about that.
Excuse me.
I'm because I actually thought about that. Wasn't there a
Yeah.
stand-up
Yeah,
roller
stand-up
coaster?
roller coaster, and a girl fell out of it, or I don't
Yes, or something
Yeah,
happened.
yeah, and I remember
Okay,
her name was Ryan because I remember that being a pretty name for a girl,
girl.
like,
Okay,
so
see, yeah, I same. I thought of that, but I could not find anything
but if
about
any of
that.
our listeners,
Remember that,
yeah,
or
send us an email.
for sure. Now, Oceans of Fun. Of course, water parks come with different risks. We're talking about thousands of swimmers, again, the powerful wave pool. So, one of the most tragic incidents connected to the parks in general happened at Oceans of Fun in 1999. That summer, a young boy visiting the park was found unconscious in the wave pool. Yeah. And again, huge waves. Lifeguards quickly pull him from the water, begin CPR. They rush him to the hospital, but tragically, the boy did die. Yes. So, again, very, very dangerous wave pool. The incident, of course, shocked the Kansas City community and served a reminder of how dangerous
Mhm.
that pool can be. And afterwards, of course, the park practiced safety procedures, lifeguard protocols, all of that heavily reviewed.
I've always thought they could use more lifeguards
Oh,
around there.
like as many as possible.
Mhm.
Also in 1999, a maintenance worker was tragically killed while working on the Orient Express when a train struck him during testing. So 1999 was a rough,
Wow.
yeah. And investigators later determined that incident was because safety procedures had not been fully followed.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, and just in the 2 weeks I worked there, I did see some of this, but the hidden danger of heat at Oceans of
Yeah.
Fun and Worlds of Fun, both. Um, Again, in Missouri itself, sometimes heat's the biggest danger. And, hot rides, black asphalt, especially at Worlds of Fun, the park deals with numerous cases of heat exhaustion, dehydration, fainting, sometimes heat stroke. It would be very interesting to be a paramedic stationed in Worlds
Oh my
or
goodness,
Oceans of
yes.
Fun. But they definitely get dozens of calls every summer. And I do have to say, for the most part, visitors don't notice that.
No.
They do a good job of trying to kind of keep it behind the scenes.
Mhm.
And there's a constant effort to make sure that everybody is safe, nobody feels scared, that kind of thing. Okay. Now, few urban legends really quickly about Worlds and Oceans of Fun.
Okay.
So, and some of these I had heard and some of these I had not heard. So, every amusement park has them, urban legends. So rumors that teenagers swear are true, stories from employees.
Yeah.
And after more than 50 years of operation, Worlds and Oceans of Fun have collected some of those. So the first urban legend is the Timberwolf. For years, ride operators swear that strange things would happen on the Timberwolf late at night. Now, I think it would be weird to be in the park after everybody leaves.
Oh,
Wouldn't
that would
that
be
be
kind of creepy.
And what if they shut all the lights off? Like,
and you
it's
just had to figure out where to go?
it's like that show, what is it? Five Nights at Freddy's.
I haven't seen
Ooh,
that.
it's a video
Ugh.
game movie thing.
Yeah, that would be spooky.
Yes. So when the park would close, employees would stay behind to clean rides. They had to run maintenance checks and prepare for the next day. And sometimes that means operating the roller coasters in complete darkness. Because sometimes they would shut they would leave the main light in there, but like the actual lights are on the ride. Nobody's going to be on the coaster. So
Yeah.
type of thing. Several former employees have said that while doing late night test runs of the Timberwolf, they would always get this sense like someone else or someone was on the train with them. Like sometimes they'd ride. They just got this feeling
Okay,
of
so
a presence.
they would ride the train in the dark?
Yes.
That would be scary in itself.
But so scary.
But then they also felt like someone else was on the train?
Yes.
Oh, weird.
And they said the coaster would leave the station empty, except for the operator or whoever was on it. And when it would return, some employees claimed that they could hear footsteps, like behind them, like other people getting off, or they would feel their seatbelt slightly move next to them. You
Oh.
can creep yourself out really quickly.
Yeah.
Others said they'd hear faint voices during the ride when they knew that the park was completely empty. Again, probably not true, but I can see where the Timberwolf's structure and the creaking track and all that can make for that.
Well, yeah.
Make for kind of scary. Another rumor that pops up constantly among park fans is the idea that there are these secret tunnels underneath Worlds of Fun. Now,
Never heard that.
Missouri has tons of caves.
True.
We're going to talk about that in an upcoming episode, and some of those are near Worlds of Fun.
Okay.
But there always was this legend that these tunnels allowed employees to move around the park unseen. Like they could go under there and walk. Well, that's what Walt Disney did at Walt Disney World.
Okay.
He literally has like a town under Walt Disney World of tunnels where people get from one place to the other.
Okay.
So in reality, Worlds of Fun does have what's considered service corridors and maintenance access, but there's not like this huge underground network of like tunnels. But still a fun thing to think about.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no. Okay, and then there's the Orient Express ghost story. After the Orient Express closed in 2003, the ride's massive steel loops stood abandoned for a while before they were able to dismantle the ride. And during that time, there were some employees that claimed when they'd look at the empty structure at night, it was just so unsettling. Like here you got this park that's alive and all these lights, and there's the Orient Express just standing in the
dead.
dark. And a few even joked that I can see someone up there. Do you see someone? Like they could see someone like climbing up on the rails and on the track. Yeah. And if it was most likely, again, nothing. But again, you're walking around an amusement park late at night or when it's dark, your imagination goes crazy. One rumor that does pop up occasionally among former employees involves a ride starting unexpectedly after closing. Stories vary, of course.
Just starting.
Stories vary depending on who tells it, but the legend kind of goes like this. A maintenance worker is walking through the park late at night. All the rides are shut down, the lights are off. Then suddenly, he hears a motor start running. A train slowly moves along a track and a ride starts rotating and then stops. Well, I guess in reality, some rides run what are called automated test cycles during maintenance.
Mhm.
So they're already like programmed to do some of that. But tell me that wouldn't be scary as heck if it's completely silent and you're in a ride just start.
Oh my gosh.
And no one had told you about these automated test cycles.
Now, if it was the little cars, you got to remember the old school cars. If one of
Oh,
those,
the taxis?
yes. What if one of those started up and just started going?
Oh, I'd
down?
hop in, ride it all around. I always wanted to ride it like around.
I love those.
I love those.
That's
too.
how I learned how to drive.
Me too. Oh, I thought it was so big, so big. Now, one thing that actually is true about amusement parks, maintenance teams do regularly test rides after closing, and that means someone might be riding a roller coaster alone in the middle of the night. Again, can you imagine riding like the Timberwolf at night by yourself or the Zambi Zinger?
No.
Yeah, empty park. Again, to me, that sounds super creepy. So, exit 54. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Let's talk about that.
We did ask for some feedback, like some Worlds of Fun stories.
Yes.
And one person mentioned Exit 54. But like I said earlier, when I Googled it, I could not find anything. And from what I could tell, it was only open for like a couple years.
It was very short-lived.
I got to go like 3 times and it shut down. I was so freaking up.
It was so fun.
So fun. And for those of you who don't know, it basically, when you first walked in, one of the main entrances, it was a giant like covered pavilion, and they would have a DJ and you just dance.
It was like a dance for teenagers.
It was a dance social.
Yeah.
And I remember, I mean, you can meet people from all over.
But people like from all over Kansas City. I mean, we were from
Little
Lawson, and we would go there and we were around the city people, you know, they're playing music and
looking all cool in their fashion.
I wonder if anybody wants to check me out tonight.
Yeah, look at me. I'm looking so good.
Looking so good in my IOU sweatshirt.
I found my Worlds of Fun pass from 1989.
I have mine too.
We need to take pictures of them and put them.
Didn't we always get those for Easter?
Yes, for
that
Easter.
Was the best present
it
for
was.
Easter.
So
and all your friends had to get them too. Because then, you know.
Well, yeah, you all had to go for sure. And our parents would just drop us off at the gate.
Yeah.
A parent would take us and then a parent would pick us up. They'd be like, okay, we'll be back in about 8 hours to get you. Okay.
That was not long enough.
No, it was not long enough. Now, let's get into this new chapter of Worlds of Fun and Oceans of Fun. So, for more than 5 decades, Worlds of Fun has stood as one of Kansas City's defining summer traditions. But in early March of this year, 2026, just about a month ago, nearly 53 years after the park first opened, something very interesting has happened. And this is really one of the biggest turning points in the park's history in a while. On March 5th, 2026, Six Flags Entertainment Corporation, the multinational amusement park operator that had owned Worlds of Fun since 2024, when it merged with Cedar Fair. So Six Flags and Cedar Fair are the 2 big amusement park companies in the U.S. besides Walt Disney, obviously. So it announced that it would be selling Worlds of Fun and Oceans of Fun as part of a broader strategic shift. The announcement came as part of a multi-park divestiture deal. Now, I don't know exactly what that means, but basically Six Flags has agreed to sell 7 of their regional parks across the U.S. and Canada to this real estate investment trust called EPR Properties. And they're selling these 7 parks for roughly $331 million.
Oh, is that all?
The parks involved in this trust include Worlds and Oceans of Fun in Kansas City, Six Flags St. Louis in Eureka, Missouri, Valley Fair in Shakopee, Minnesota, Michigan's Adventure in Muskegon, Michigan, Schlitterbahn Water Park in Galveston, Texas, and Six Flags Great Escape in Queensbury, New York. And that list reads like a who's who of regional favorites because, again, besides Disney, Cedar Fair and Six Flags own a lot of that. Now, the inclusion of Worlds of Fun and Ocean Fun was definitely, I mean, this was a significant thing locally because, I mean, again, if someone came out tomorrow and said, we're closing Worlds and Oceans of Fun, I think Kansas City would be devastated.
Devastated.
Yes. So, in their announcement, Six Flags executives framed the decision as part of a broader effort to streamline the company's business and concentrate on parks with the strongest growth potential. So they believe these 7 parks that they've purchased have the best potential to become something more.
So that's good.
That's good for us. That's a really good thing. So rather than running dozens of properties spread around, they want to focus their capital and leadership on long-term assets. And according to financial reports tied to this deal, the parks being sold collectively generate about $260 million in net revenue, and they hosted about 4.5 million visitors in 2025. I mean, those are big numbers.
Wow.
But part of the portfolio that Six Flags said it planned to operate in a leaner way moving forward. So what does that mean? Well, from a corporate perspective, this is about strategy, but on the ground for countless season pass holders, summertime visitors, like what's going to happen? Is this going to change
Yeah.
what I do at the park? Well, we're going to talk about that. There's good news, not going to be too many changes yet. But here's where the story gets interesting. Six Flags is not selling the parks to just any buyer. They're selling these 7 parks to this company called EPR Properties. So EPR Properties, they're a Kansas City-based real estate investment trust. They specialize in what they call experimental properties, meaning things like entertainment venues, ski resorts, movie theaters, and theme parks. And they don't plan to operate the parks directly. They're going to, it's so crazy how this stuff works. So EPR bought all these from Six Flags. Now Six Flags is going to lease all of them, to another company called Enchanted Parks.
I'm so confused right now.
Yeah, previously known as Innovative Attractions Management.
Okay.
So Six Flags owned all these parks, sold them to EPR. EPR's basically letting Enchanted Parks run them. Okay, this is good, I think, for us because Enchanted Parks is a relatively new amusement park operator. They are headquartered in Florida, but the company is slated to become the day-to-day operator of Worlds of Fun and Oceans of Fun. And executives from EPR have described the move with Enchanted Parks as a win-win. This is a chance to invest in parks that are beloved in their communities while giving smaller, more focused operators flexibility to prioritize local needs. So that says to me that Enchanted Parks is kind of willing to see what do the people of Kansas City want?
Yeah.
You know, how might we be able to modernize Worlds and Oceans of Fun to make people around here even more attracted to it. Now, right now, what stands out and what's important to many people, the names will stay the same.
Oh, they will?
For the next year, Worlds and Oceans of Fun will keep their names.
Okay.
Now, after that, I don't know. And again, one immediate concern is, will my passes work this coming season? Or will there be changes to the park? According to the sale announcement, the transition is not expected to disrupt park operations for this 26 season. All previously sold season passes are planned to be honored, and guests should be able to visit just like always. So no changes this summer. But behind the scenes, there are other questions. Reddit and park message boards are already filled with speculations about what the future might hold. People are like, okay, are prices going to go up? They have everywhere else. Are there going to be new rides? Will employees stay the same? How will Oceans of Fun play into all of this? And, from what I've read, most people seem really hopeful. Although it's confusing, they do feel like this new ownership and the smaller operator will hopefully let them focus on maintaining park quality and even making improved experiences. Others worry they could completely change it, make it something different.
Now, I will tell you, I bought a season pass.
You did?
This year. I bought one because it was $66.
That's what you said.
Which is super cheap. They're normally over $100.
Yes. Was that like an Easter special or something?
I don't know what it was. I just clicked on there and got lucky, and then my friend Stephanie did it, and I mean, it's legit.
Nice, $66. I mean, for a whole summer?
I don't know if you can. You might, if you're interested in getting a pass, you might check on their website and see. But yeah,
and I know you can.
Maybe that's part of the change. I don't know. Charging $66 for both. That would be nice. Maybe.
So was that for both?
Yes,
for a full pass.
$66.
Wow.
For Oceans of Fun, Worlds of Fun, and free parking.
Shoot, that's a good deal.
It is a really.
Dang.
You pay for that in one visit.
Oh, half a visit.
I know. It's crazy.
Between food and parking and awesome. Okay, now, unless something unexpected happens, then like I said, that means everything's going to move forward like you hoped it would. So now, we did, again, ask some of our listeners out there if they remembered anything about Worlds of Fun. Now, we already talked about Exit 54, right? We already talked about that. Now, this is a hilarious story that I have to tell about.
Okay.
So we had one listener Her name is Emma Leanne, and
Mhm.
Emma Leanne messaged us with a hilarious story.
Okay.
And she did not give her friend's name, so I'm sure she could protect her friend's identity. So Emma Leanne said that she and her friend were at Worlds of Fun one time, and they were like, you know what? Let's ride the ripcord.
Oh, that giant thing?
Yes, I rode the ripcord with my brother-in-law one time.
Terry or
Chad. It was very scary. Yes. And basically the ripcord pulls you up how far in the air do you think?
A little
100 feet?
probably, yes.
I mean, maybe more. I don't know. You're way up there, and then it releases you, and you're like Superman flying through the air. That's what the ripcord is. I mean, you're like,
Yeah.
they Velcro you in this thing. So Emma Lee Ann and her friend decide we're going to do the ripcord today. After being hoisted in the air, they start to fly through the air like Superman. They both let out giant screams, and her friend's dentures of her mouth
No.
down into the rocks and pond below.
Oh, no.
And they said that got off, and an employee and her went out there, and they found her dentures. They got them back.
My gosh.
Isn't that amazing?
She was laughing so hard. Her mouth was,
Her dentures.
they weren't stuck very good. Oh,
That's amazing.
that is a funny story.
Yes.
Emily Ann.
Yes.
How do you say that?
Well, I'm guessing it's
Emily Ann.
Emily Ann. Yeah. So
that was
thank
a funny story.
we love that. You guys, worlds and oceans
I
of
wonder
fun.
what she said. I wonder what she said. Did she really say fell?
My teeth just fell out. My teeth. Yeah, so that's amazing. But yeah, Worlds of Fun, Oceans of Fun. You guys, opening day of Worlds of Fun is right around the corner.
When is it?
Well, this episode's debuting on Monday, April 20th, and opening day is April 25th.
Wow.
Yes, yes. So, you guys, thank you for joining us today. Remember, quick rate and review, subscribe, like. It goes really far. We appreciate it so much. We love all our listeners, whether you're on YouTube, Patreon. Thank you for joining us. This has been Missouri Mayhem. Until next time, stay safe, stay kind, stay curious.
Missouri, you bring the mystery.
And we'll bring the mayhem.
Peace out.
Peace out. And this has been Mindy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, that was me. Now, peace
Peace out.